Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Dan from Rebellious Noise. I am joined by Scott, Lucas, and for some reason we are missing a luchador again, and we have no idea where he is, but
I know it's that Uso lost, mate. It got to him.
probably, yeah. And the fact of obviously Lucha House Party losing as well, so he's probably he'd only have stuck
Real.
around for the kickoff show anyway with his mask on, so we don't know who's
True.
under him. So yeah. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is we are going to go through the Clash of Champions 2020 card. You know, as you will know if you see the prediction video, we did our predictions on what we thought was going to happen. But there were some slight changes. During the pre-show, it was announced that Nikki Cross was not medically cleared. Neither were Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So we obviously picked our predictions for the Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus the Riot Squad match. No points will be issued for that match because obviously the match didn't take place. We don't know obviously the status of Nikki Cross or Nia Jax or Shayna Baszler, but there are rumours floating around. But obviously, until we have facts, we can't obviously say what is
Yeah,
what. But
let's be careful.
it's safe to say that they were not medically cleared. So the Bayley versus Nikki Cross match later in the show has also been changed. So as we know, the card had to change around slightly as well. So the Asuka versus Zelina Vega Raw Women's Championship match, which was scheduled for the kickoff show, got moved onto the main show, which meant the kickoff show was a match that we actually had some predictions for, which was a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between Cesaro and Nakamura and the Lucha House Party. And I've spoken enough already, so I'll leave you guys to have a little bit of a say now.
Well, as always, pre-show is cooking time for me, and yeah, I only saw parts of this match, but from what I did see, it was good, and yeah, it seemed like the obvious team to win.
Yeah, it was okay for what it was. I think some of the Lucha House Party's offense, while impressive, is a bit it's a bit samey now. With it, I think they still had a good showing, and happy that Kalisto's back involved. They're still teasing them perhaps splitting, which I don't understand. Like, your company has no tag team, start splitting them up. But yeah, no, it was okay. Pre-show stuff, only went about 8 minutes or so. But that's what you needed, especially with what was to come later on in the show. But yeah, the right team won, I'd say.
Yeah, I suppose it was good all round as well. We all predicted Cesaro and Nakamura to retain. What with obviously the impending draft, we don't know whether they're going to actually move some teams maybe from NXT to the main roster to obviously, compete in that tag division. By the way,
Think
I
they
just
need
have
to,
to
yeah.
apologise. I need to burp. So that was disgusting.
Okay.
That's going to stay in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so as we say, we all predicted obviously Cesaro and Nakamura to win. We don't know obviously what's going to happen with the upcoming draft, and so yeah, that was pretty much it, I guess, for the kickoff show. Obviously, there was a little bit with our truth, but we'll probably get into that a little bit during the show. So yeah, the main show then kicked off with the match that we were probably all looking forward to the most. It was the longest match on the card at 26 minutes 35 seconds. That was the Intercontinental title triple threat ladder match between Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles. Now, I think from Friday when we heard that the stipulation in this was, well, not stipulation, but the only way to win was to pull down both titles. I know, Lucas, you and me were saying that it seemed like it was going to be written that it was going to be a schmoz finish where one person will pull one belt down, one will pull the other one down, but thankfully that didn't happen. We did get a clean finish, but no points for any of us. We all said Jeff Hardy to win this one,
I
and
think
instead
that's it.
we were pleasantly surprised.
Well, I mean, the match was so good that I completely forgot that I'd lose points. Like the match was so good, the ending was so good. I was happy with who won, how they won. That I just was like, I looked about 2 matches into it. I was like, wait, did I lose points there? So that's the mark of a good match, because this table's heating up and I'm starting to care more. So, but I cared way less in this match because it was just so good. Yeah, I mean, obviously there were some great spots, mainly involving Jeff Hardy getting battered, like when he landed on that upside down ladder when it was in like a V shape. That was rough. But the main one, obviously, was the one where he was kind of sliding down the ladder and then he got thrown by Sami into the thing. And obviously that bit was meant to happen, but it was hard to tell where he was meant to go next, because he just pinballed completely, destructively to the floor, and that was horrific looking, but cool.
Yeah, I think this is like one of the most risk matches we've seen. I think obviously next month is Hell in a Cell, so perhaps we'll see some more, but this was definitely like hard to watch at times almost. I mean,
I couldn't believe how much they did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they were given time. I think the match was about 25 minutes, which I think was the second longest on the show, or the longest on the show.
The longest on
the longest,
show,
okay.
Yeah.
And there were 2 other matches when they went 20 minutes or so. But I really enjoyed this, and I think it's one of those where I'm just so happy that they did a new finish that wasn't stupid. It's so hard to get these things right. I think we said on the kind of prediction for this, I said like, it's so hard because obviously cage matches, ladder matches, we've seen these stipulations so many times, and obviously now we're spoiled by having AEW as well as WWE doing these stipulations on a regular basis. So it's very hard for it to stand out. But I love this finish. I thought it was absolutely genius, and I think in a way, like I think Jeff will probably get the belt back. I think it's just obviously to complete Sami's return. I guess I can't really punish him for choosing to stay at home with his family. So maybe, but I thought all 3 men really delivered. It's a match that I think probably the best match in the Thunderdome so far. There we are, I've said it. Best match in the Thunderdome so far. It's been a month, but I was really happy with this. Shame we lost a point though, but we all lost a point, so then I'm not too thankful about that.
As far as like match quality, we were talking about it possibly being match of the night, and even the guys in it could create a match of the year. And I wouldn't say it's match of the year yet, but it was definitely match of the night and match of the era, because what they did really well was the triple threat scenario. They really worked that well. Like I remember that part where I think it was Sami might have pushed it, or someone pushed it. Or Jeff pushed it while Sami was on to get Sami to fall, actually hit into AJ. And then there was the other bit where they did the classic 2 people on the ladder, it falls, they land on the rope, bounce outside. But then it landed on Sami, who protected himself with his knees. And it was just so perfect. Like, although there was those sloppy things like the way Jeff landed and stuff, the spots themselves were still, for the most part, came off really well, especially for the way they used the triple threat scenario. I think that's why this one was so good, because it can become cliche, it can become samey, but they did so much in order to make it fresh, and it was amazing.
I think there was no doubt from any of us that this was going to be a quality match, but I just thought, as like Lucas touched on as well, the finish was just genius, and it's something that it's what you want as a wrestling fan. It's just something you've not seen before. You don't want to be seeing. I mean, how often is it that it's just going to be, someone's climbing up a ladder, someone gets yanked off, and then you climb up and just pull it down? It's like that. Although it's good, it gives you that thing. It's samey. You don't want to be seeing samey all over again. Instead, you see Sami climbing up the ladder and pulling down the 2 titles. And I think overall it delivered every bit that we thought it was going to. And as you say, it was just an absolute brilliant match. And I don't really think there's much more that we can say that than
it was just so good. It was so good.
And I think it was so good to a point where none of us give a crap that we lost points.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing as well, we're talking about first times and keeping things fresh. I tweeted out last night, I think it might be the first time, not just in wrestling, not just in ladder matches, but in the history of the world, that an ear has been handcuffed to a ladder. Like, when else would that have happened? You know, so I was watching that and I was just like, he's a genius. He's a genius, you know, like, and then, because you thought, literally, the first thing I said was, oh, he's going to do it to the ladder. You can move a ladder. What's the point? The ladders move easy. But the way he got Jeff, where, yeah, it's not so easy when it's attached to your earlobe. And when the way he did I was like, well, how's he going to do AJ? All right, the ropes. But then the way AJ was trapped, I was just like, this. Again, I can only praise this finish. It was one of the best things I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, because the thing is, once they get handcuffs out, usually, you just know that the face usually gets out of them. And so it was like one of those where, you know, you're so used to seeing this kind of spot fail that when it actually works, it's even more genius. And yeah, just brilliant stuff all around. You know, I can't praise it enough.
Sorry I couldn't be there today, guys. All this lucha and stuff. Obviously, I've had to do a couple of other bits and pieces, you know, sort of new mask out, possibly. Unless something that might be happening. But yeah, the first match, that I'd have had a couple of buffering issues with the pre-show, which is really, really, really annoying. So I didn't really see what happened, so I'm not going to talk about that. The first match, though, was the Intercontinental ladder match. I'm so happy that both belts went up, as I said in the prediction. What a way for Sami Zayn to win it. Although, did he win it or did he retain it, as he's saying? Either way, I loved the match. The swanton from Jeff at like 43 years old and he's still like 20 foot up on a ladder. Incredible. Absolutely loved it. I loved the finish, the handcuff to the ear, and then Sami handcuffing himself to AJ and then undoing it and then cuffing him up to the ladder. What a way to end that match. I'm intrigued to see how they go forward with this. Will AJ or Jeff try and go for the title again? Because technically Jeff, as the champion, has a rematch. So will that happen? I'm really intrigued. Loved the match. Thought it was absolutely brilliant.
So yeah,
I'm in a good mood now. We talked about that.
So shall we move on now? So the next three matches are all matches where none of us got points because we didn't predict them because they weren't announced at the time. And strangely, they all come from Raw as well. So the match immediately following that, which was always going to be a tough task, was Asuka versus Zelina Vega. But if anyone can obviously follow something great, that is Asuka. And I think she got a good little match out of Zelina Vega, you know. Only went just over 7 minutes, but, you know, I think Zelina didn't do herself a disservice too much. And, you know, Asuka, we know, can pull a great match out of anybody. But, yeah, I think overall, decent little match and decent Raw Women's title match.
Yeah, definitely makes you want to see more of Zelina in the ring. I think there was nothing that... I mean, she's been wrestling a long time anyway, so it's not like she's new to it. But obviously, she doesn't get the chance. So it was great to see her get that chance and have a perfectly fine kind of downplayed it, but have a good match basically, you know. And just shows what she can do. And let's get more of that.
Yeah, I thought it was better than I thought it would be. I think obviously the quality of women's match in WWE obviously has been really high lately. So obviously this one to be, in my opinion, you know, just like an okay kind of match. I felt a bit let down by it. I do kind of think as well, it felt to me like it was very much a placeholder match. Like obviously on Raw sort of things, and they're building up obviously Peyton Royce. Mandy Rose is about to debut on Raw. We've got the draft too. So just to feel a bit like they're obviously going to wait for the bigger events coming up, Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series and even TLC, to be fair, to do a proper match for Asuka. But I think it's nice that, you know, like in the Universal title picture later on, we're getting new challenges. We're not just seeing the same rematch or the rematch or the rematch. I really like this finish. And to be fair, this is going to be a common thing from my side anyway, a very common theme throughout the show, apart from one match, which we will get to. You know, that I like the finish of this. I think it was really, like, Asuka did a lot to kind of make Zelina look very good and like she could almost win. But just the fact that even the timing of how Zelina Vega, she tapped kind of straight away, to me, and the thing is, this is going maybe a bit in-depth, but like to me, it's kind of one of the things, well, she's not used to wrestling, so why would she be able to fight out of this amazing submission hold, which is beating the likes of Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, You know,
So
you
she
name
knows
it.
once it's in, I'm not even going to bother. Just get me
Yeah.
out. I mean, it
Because she
is
hasn't
game
wrestled.
over. Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, apart from what she had a match with Mickey James, and you know, she had, I think, another match a few months ago or something, on mixed tags and stuff like that. But she hasn't wrestled, so yeah, I thought it was really well. It was done well, the finish, and I would like to see more of Zelina Vega wrestle, but I think perhaps give her some other people to work with outside of the title picture for now, and also build her back up to another title shot. Because at the moment, I mean, she mocked it. The whole feud basically was her mocking it anyway, but Asuka is just basically going, whoever wants a title shot seems to face Asuka, which really was a champion of Asuka caliber. It shouldn't be like that. She should be facing the top woman on whichever brand that she's on, because you know she's a fantastic talent, and we want to see the best matches out of her. But yeah, I was happy that she retained, and obviously we'll talk about her more later, obviously, as it wasn't the last time we saw her on the show. But yeah, no, decent match.
Yeah, I really like the build up to that Asuka lock as well. The like the build up to the finish where they're doing all the pinning combination and they're flipping back and forth, and they were really like good as well. They were locked in really well. So yeah, great way to get to the ending as well.
Yeah. So as you know, as I said, like it didn't obviously make either of them look bad, you know, and obviously we say Asuka can draw a good match, and yeah, I thought the finish was pretty decent too. Definitely want to see a bit more of Zelina in the ring, because we know obviously she's got that talent, but we never know what's going to happen in the draft. You know, she could go her separate ways from the Vega boys, as Lucas has named them, or will they go as like a trio somewhere else? And obviously we know that where Zelina goes, as WWE are liking to do at the moment, Aleister Black will follow, because they're trying to keep obviously couples together. So obviously, yeah, who knows what's going to happen there.
I'm not sure if they were ready to allow Zelina to have like a really long match, because it was only like 7 minutes or something like that. However, the match that they had was great. I was really intrigued by the chemistry that they had. There wasn't anything that kind of, like, she never looked out of place. They looked like they've worked well together a lot, and they've gone through it a few times in the past for the style, the contrast, and the chemistry in the ring. Really like the ending. It ended with the Asuka lock, and then all of a sudden a cheap shot from Zelina Vega, which really took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that, which means I'm hoping that a feud continues. Is this going to be something that we see again at Hell in a Cell? I really hope so. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I would like to see them in a submissions match for the title. That would be something new for Vega. Obviously, we know Asuka got the Asuka lock, so maybe that's what happens. That's what I'm calling. But I'd like the match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, so I think the next match we were very excited for. It's the first time we're ever seeing this match. That was the United States Championship match. Something a little bit ironic though, with the next two matches, they both went exactly the same amount of time, 8 minutes 15. There we go.
Halloween next month.
Well, one of them actually wasn't meant to, probably, but we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so Bobby Lashley defending against Apollo Crews. Thankfully, they've changed the name of the full Lashley now to is it the Hurt Lock?
Hurt Lock.
Yeah, the Hurt Lock now. But yeah, it's what Lashley used to get rid of Apollo Crews.
Where was Cedric?
That's what I was. Yeah.
In catering, probably.
They acted like he was doing. I think MVP had said something on the pre-show, but yeah, I don't know. It was a bit weird, but maybe he was another person that was caught up in this backstage health, whatever's going on, and maybe because he didn't have a big show, they didn't even need to mention it. Is what I thought.
Because Shelton came out, didn't he? Shelton came out and then left.
Yeah,
which I also found weird because MVP stayed there.
It should have just been MVP. Yeah. So, like, if you don't want to draw attention to it, but yeah, like you said, Dan, like hinted, like obviously we've seen this match so much lately, and yeah, it kind of made me not really pay attention. I just wanted to, as much as I like both these guys and I love the Hurt Business and what they're doing, it's like we've done this now. Let's move on. Okay, so hopefully this is the end of it. Obviously Lashley getting the win, but yeah, other than the ending and the standing shooting star and the lowdown, nearly getting a free count from Apollo. There wasn't really much else to go over, I don't think, because we've seen this quite a lot lately. But it doesn't mean it was a bad match. It was just same again.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those awkward things, I think, in the situation like at the moment with the Hurt Business, because they're stuck in this kind of feud with Retribution. It's kind of like the United States title was an afterthought, so they've probably just thought last minute, oh crap, we've got a pay-per-view on Sunday, we need to put someone in there for the US title. We've not built anybody up. Oh, let's just chuck chuck Apollo Crews back in there. So I think that was most likely what it was just that it was a thing of, oh, we need somebody. So
it's not like they didn't know it was coming, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
The
to
whole
be fair,
point of the
they're the ones that booked it. So
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's true. But you'd like to think they had the foresight of like, oh, we'll kind of build someone up maybe quietly in the background. But
What about Ricochet?
I was just going to say,
he accompanied Apollo, didn't he? Because he's not had a pay-per-view match, I don't think, since he lost Lesnar earlier in the year. Well, I say earlier, it was 10 years ago at this point when it was in Saudi. That's what it feels like.
Was that back when they were fans?
Yes,
that was it,
yes.
yeah.
Bloody hell, I can't even remember that.
The last international show, before everything. But anyway, I don't know why we're back to that same match. I mean, I don't know if you can actually just copy my exact thoughts from last month.
Just copy
paste it in this section, because I feel the same. Like Apollo, fantastic athlete, so to get him away into a new program, because this is how you kill a star, you see. Because the fans don't dislike Apollo. Like you can't dislike Apollo. Like he's fantastic and phenomenal in the ring. I mean, yes, you can say he needs a personality. Like we get that. But in terms of what he does inside the squared circle, like it's fantastic. Like he's so athletic. And Lashley, I have so much love for Bobby Lashley, and I just felt the same. To be fair, but yeah, both guys need and deserve more, like a better program than this. We're above seeing the same rematch week after week after week. Finish was decent, like it's Lashley. Like that hurt lot they're getting over. Loved MVP at ringside. There was some real nice kind of. And we'll get to more of this kind of stuff, kind of as we talk about with the main event. And Randy and the two main events, sorry. But the kind of like the back and forth, between MVP on the outside and Apollo on the inside, just really, really good. Because they're able to do this stuff now because obviously there's no live fans. They're able to obviously zoom the camera straight up to the performers' faces and kind of, we can hear what they're saying and we can feel the story. And MVP is just a gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, the right guy won end of the day. And I guess one of the things as well with Clash of Champions, where this is a match they wouldn't have probably had the stipulation of every belt must be defended, not have been a thing, because there was no need for the match. Like, we all know Lashley's fantastic, and we know that Hurt Business are over, and we love MVP. Like, it would have been enough just to not have them on the show, and obviously have them on Raw this week. But yeah, the right guy won.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much echoing what you guys said. Really, it's something that we have definitely seen before, but it's just going to be interesting going forward because it's like I don't see how the United States title fits into the current Hurt Business storyline at the minute. It's like if they're going to be doing this thing with Retribution, it's like, do you kind of try and peel Lashley away from that to then go into a separate feud for like over the title kind of thing? Because I think that you need to build somebody up, but then it's like, do they go for like try and get one of the Retribution people maybe to fight him?
You've got to love though the Retribution. They love attacking people on Raw, and they were on SmackDown at one point, but they hate pay-per-views. They refuse to interrupt the pay-per-view program. They just go, no,
I'm enjoying this.
We can't do Sundays. We can't do
I pay
Sundays.
for my network.
They're probably just sitting there in catering with Cedric watching it.
You raised a good point. I don't know where they'd go with it, because aren't they both technically villain teams as well, Retribution and Hurt Business? So
yeah,
where do you kind of go with it? Like, I mean, they've dabbled a lot with the Hurt Business kind of being all over the show. Obviously, recently when they took over the Raw Underground, but then that never kind of went anywhere. It was just like a one-show thing just to get them on. I think just to get them on in the third hour. There seems to be a common theme that where every Raw they need to have the Hurt Business on basically every hour. So
one of the best things
well.
about Raw at the moment.
Well, yeah, probably. And it's mad that in 2020 we're talking about MVP basically being involved in probably
MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. You know?
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah.
Three of the non-champion, three of the top stars on Raw, really. But yeah, I don't know where you go with it, like US title wise, because they're not building up anyone else to like below. And I'm guessing, like, obviously Keith Lee already being involved with Orton and Drew. He's obviously now above the US title. But I guess he could drop down to it. And I mean, there is money, I think, in Lee and Lashley.
I was going to say that would be a good feud, actually. I can see him working really well with that stable.
Because that is power and power.
And it writes itself, Lash Lee. There we go. Sorted. It's limitless, that match.
Nice one.
There we go.
Again, this was another quick match that I think it's kind of done now. I'm really hoping it is. The match finished with the Hurt Lock. There wasn't nothing spectacular to me that really stood out in this match, other than just trash talking from Hurt Business. To be honest, anything that's got the Hurt Business in and them looking dominant, I'm all for. Absolutely loved it. Again, the match was really quick. That was my only criticism. I like what we've seen, but the thing they done in the ring, we'd kind of seen before. So there was nothing really, really new that stood out. That was my issue. Also, during that, I had some buffering issues, so I had to refresh the page. So it was annoying that I couldn't see it properly, and it was a bit jumpy. But I think that was on my end. But from what I saw of that match, it was great. It was good. Like I said, it was nothing that we hadn't seen before. I'm just glad this rivalry now is done. I'm hoping it is. I want to see who challenges Bobby Lashley next.
Yeah, so the final match, obviously, of this trifecta of matches is the final one that we didn't predict, and that was for the Raw Tag Team titles, the Street Profits versus the Vega Boys. Now, this one had a bit of a dodgy finish, but apparently it's due to the fact that Angel Garza seemingly picked up an injury. They initially thought it was his hip or his quadricep, something like that. They're not too sure. It seemed like the referee didn't tell the performers. He just went ahead and counted a 3 when Andrade got his shoulder up. And yeah, Street Profits came out with their championships. And it's another case of like cut and paste. What do they do with these titles going forward? Because it's like, it's pretty much, they're doing nothing with either of the tag titles. And it's like we said on the predictions, the only thing we can really see them doing is combining them. And, you know, that the way they could even do that is draft one of the teams over to the other brand during the draft, and then you've got both sets of tag champs on one show, so it might force them to be like, okay, so we've got 2 lots of champs, we can only have 1 set of titles. But I mean, yeah, what did you think of this match anyway, the Street Profits and the Vega Boys?
Well, there wasn't much you could really say about the match, because although it went the same exact length like you said, because it was cut short, obviously it felt like it never really kicked into gear, because we all came away from it thinking, well, what happened? I completely agree with what they did, stopping the match and whatever else and getting them attention and what they need. But like you said, to not tell the performers, just it made it really weird. It couldn't have been that hard to just let them kick out and quickly go over to someone and say, look, you're going to have to, go home and do it like that. One more big move. That's all you really need to do. So there weren't that much of a cluster. Or even, I don't know, I mean, could the doctors not have worked on the outside? Did you really need to, could you not have had one? It depends on what the result was going to be, maybe. But either way,
just have Andrade finish the match.
Yeah, that's what I thought they could have done that. But maybe there was something else going on, because obviously they teased kind of awkwardness between them 2 at times anyway. So maybe something was meant to happen. But either way, that possibility went as soon as you did the dodgy free count. So it felt like there was a better way to handle it. But I completely understand what happened and why it went the way it did. But yeah, the match itself, like, I don't know when he did the injury, but I know I put down was that the Spanish Fly looked really weird. It looked more like Montez Ford was doing a flipping rock bottom, which I know is basically how the move kind of is pulled off. But it really, because they weren't really close to each other, they were kind of at a weird angle. And the first time anyway, that's what it looked more like to me. So I don't know if that's where he did it. I know some people were saying it was around that sort of time anyway. But yeah, it just seemed really all over the place the way it ended.
Yeah, I mean, this match was a bit of a disappointment. I think Dan, like, sadly, I don't see them doing the merging the tag belts thing. I think in Vince's head, he probably just sees it as we have more tag titles, therefore it's better. Like, I think that's how he sees it. I don't think he sees, obviously, AEW have one set of tag belts, but have a very, very deep roster of tag teams. You know, but Vince is probably just like, no, we have 5 sets of tag belts throughout the entire company, I think. I think it's 5. It might have added a 6th by the time this video is published.
NXT, NXT UK, Women's, Raw, SmackDown, yeah, 5.
Yeah,
5. Okay, I got it. We got it right. But yeah, I think ultimately the Street Profits, I think at the moment it's just obviously they're a fun tag team, and I guess they want to just keep the belts on them. Obviously, with the Viking Raiders being one of them being injured, they've just released AOP as well. It's probably going to just wait until Seth Rollins finds a new tag partner at this point. And then Rollins and his new tag partner will win the tag belts off them.
How long is he going to be around, though? Because we don't know if he's going to be taking time off because obviously Becky being pregnant and stuff, you know, is he going to want to take...
Could they not do Dominic and Ray? Could they not do something with them?
They could do.
You've also got baby faces and...
Yeah, true.
You've also got Dolph and Robert Roode, who I don't know when he should be returning.
But I mean, it was either last week or this week, so maybe he'll be back this week.
They had a little team thing going on, didn't they? Back the back end of last year.
Hurt Business. There we go. Bang. Hurt Business. Shelton and MVP or Shelton and Cedric.
Yeah, I'd like to see them with the titles, and then if they're not. Yeah, then they're walking around with 3 titles.
Pinning gold.
Yeah. In terms of this match, though, and the finish, I think they like you said, Scott, I think they've handled it very poorly, but I can see why they've done it. But I don't know why this instruction has started to happen, because it's not the first time it's happened now. There was the match
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there was obviously the match with Mickie James and Asuka when the referee made an audible, but that wasn't as bad as they could put that down to a camera shot, you know, if they wanted to. And then they obviously had a match, an 8-man tag that Ivar got injured in, with Cedric and Ricochet being the last 2, and the referee again I think it was the same referee as well, counting through. There was a Falcon Arrow, I think, or something done by Cedric Alexander. Ricochet did kick out, but the ref said that was a finish. And I think this is a very silly thing to be doing. Especially because I thought the rule was, because then this is going back to when they were doing all this nonsense with the women's titles back in June, July. But the ruling was the referee is just meant to count whatever is in front of him. So if whatever
apparently,
So what's in front of him, if that is a 1-2 and a kick out, that should have been it. And I just disbelieve that people who are gone through the WWE Performance Center and NXT, you know, don't have the capacity to kind of be like, okay, Andrew Garza was injured, but Street Profits, I'm assuming, were meant to be over anyway. You know, they are not injured, nor is Andrade. Just literally have Montez Ford do his amazing frog splash, and that's the finish. That's a new finish. I think that would have been all they needed very easy to do.
Yeah, and like I said, you could get them seen to on the outside. There's no fans there. They could shield it if they wanted to. They can use it as part of the story. They can say, look, Andrade's on his. They could have done so many things. I understand that moment you're panicking and stuff, but yeah, it seemed like a bad decision.
Yeah,
even if as he's hitting the move, the ref just goes to him, right, this is the finish.
This is it, yeah.
Yeah, this
don't
is
kick
it.
out.
I'm counting 3. Just literally, all he has to do is just communicate with them and just say, look, this is it, bang. As soon as you hit the deck, I'm counting 3.
Honestly, I don't know if you can get a screen grab of Angelo Dawkins' face after the match. He was fuming.
Yeah.
You could just tell he was absolutely fuming because, you know, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. I mean,
real emotion as well. You know, he's just won, but he can't help but look annoyed.
Yeah,
and that doesn't help. That doesn't help the way things are presented.
Yeah, he was just looking at them like, what the hell has gone on? And sadly, because of this, it would seem that if Angel Garza's not injured, we're most likely going to see this match again because they will like to fix it And so we have to see this match again, probably, maybe even tonight on Raw if it's not a serious injury. Again, all the best to Angel Garza. Obviously, if he is injured, like that sucks. Like obviously, we don't want that to be happening to people. And obviously, wishing him speedy recovery. But if it is just like a tweak or something, he's able to come back. Then perhaps just. Perhaps they can sort this match out and have a better match. They had a better match, I think, at SummerSlam, wasn't it? They had a tag match, didn't they? At SummerSlam, it was decent. But the Street Profits were, in my opinion, was still the right team to go over. I know it's been a long while with the tag belts, but it's just like there's no tag division. So, and they keep teasing every other tag team splitting up. So I don't see the point of just putting the belts on like Garza and Andrade, just for them to then split up. It makes no sense. So keep them on the Street Profits. They have a cool entrance as well now. So with the solo cups flying everywhere.
Yeah.
So apparently the latest news is it's believed that the injury was related to his hip, not his leg, and that he's going to be getting checked out to confirm. But the belief is that the injury may not be as serious as officially.
Cross fingers. He's a great talent.
Hopefully, yeah, and he's probably definitely one of the future. I'd probably go as far as say future like WWE champion at some point down the line, but
who knows?
Might not be.
I really enjoy them together as well. Like
yeah, they're really
the
good
Vega
team,
boys.
and it'd be nice to see them have like a decent even if they do go ahead and feud with each other at some point, that could be one of those like epic rivalries for for years to come. Like it strikes me as a bit of like an Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio type thing. It could be something along those lines. And
oh. Man, I'm quite annoyed about this match. The Street Profits versus the Vega Boys, as they are rightfully called through the Reb Noise lot. See, I was really enjoying this match. I loved the hot tags. I loved that Montez Ford was in and the way he was controlling the match, and it was going back. He was going back and forth. We had a nice bit of flow. Then all of a sudden, Garza got injured. My issue, not the injury, obviously they happen in the ring, and I hope that he's okay. I haven't seen any news or updates or anything like that to suggest how severe the injury is. I'm hoping that you guys have spoken about it, but it just seemed that I understand an injury can happen, but the way it was finished, the X went up, which obviously we know means there's an injury. But it just seemed like there was no communication between the ref and the two guys in the ring. Because we had the spine buster and then we had a pinfall from Dawkins. And that was it. And then, even then, Andrade kicked out at 2. But the ref said it was the 3. It was just really sloppy at the end. For something that could have been great, even though there was an injury, this really it really irritated me because the match was going well. Okay, granted there was an injury, but I mean, the guy that was injured wasn't even in the match. So why couldn't they have just come up with another finish on the spot? Because they are trained to do that. And finish the match that way with Profits going over still. I mean, they're both professionals. They know how to do that. They have that training. That was my only criticism. Other than that, I really liked the match. It's just a shame that it ended so abruptly because of the injury.
Talking of matches that, we say had dodgy finishes, but this one didn't actually get started, and that was Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So obviously we found out that Nikki couldn't compete, so then Bayley comes out, issues an open challenge to anyone, probably gave it about 10 seconds, then declared herself the winner of the match. And then Asuka's music hits. Was I the only one here that thought Asuka was leaving as double champ?
Yeah, I think you are, mate.
So, all of us actually said that Bayley was going to win the match against Nikki Cross, but none of us got a point because technically Asuka won the match by disqualification.
Bayley, the match didn't happen, so
still the champion. That match didn't happen, but then it would have been interesting. So So obviously it was Bayley and Asuka, but then if Bayley had beat Asuka, we could have had a case to be like, we all said Bayley was going to win. But
we were talking about the match. It changes when it's a different person.
So Nikki Cross obviously couldn't compete. Asuka took her place, but I think it was probably more not what happened in the match. It was more what happened after the match that people are going to be talking about. And that was the return from a potentially career-threatening neck injury from Sasha Banks, coming in with a nice neck brace on, steel chair in hand. So yeah, what did you guys think of all this stuff then?
I actually respect WWE for making a quick match here, because we don't know what's happened behind the scenes, and but just assuming really they've thrown Asuka in because it's like Asuka can quickly work. They'll do something nice and quick. It did throw up a few questions, but I couldn't help but think that they have a plan already. They knew what they were doing. They were keeping the title on Bayley. And we Bayley, and we talked about on the predictions that could this be just a setup for something between Cross and Bliss, or could it be a setup just to continue the Bayley and Sasha thing? And maybe it was part of the first one, but it seemed like all along it was part of the second one as well. So Banks obviously coming out either way. I think no matter who she would have faced, Banks was going to come out and this was going to happen. So yeah, I like the way it all went down, and I like the fact that it was a DQ, I think, because it kind of it carried on that promise of we're going to have all the titles on the line, except for the tag one, which they really couldn't do because there's two of them, unless they stripped them. So they kind of did the best they could out of the whole, every title was on the line sort of thing. So I respect them for that. I know there's a rumor that they knew about the Nikki Cross thing from Friday, and they've still been promoting it.
Yeah, she wasn't on SmackDown, so yeah.
In which case, my respect levels go down because they had a bit of time to not promote it. But other than that, yeah, I'm all right with it. And yeah, and I think the quick match, it doesn't really matter. It wasn't much of a match. It was just something on the card.
So yeah, apparently it's believed WWE knew that she was going to be off the pay-per-view since Friday, possibly before that, but still continued to promote that match. So, but then the thing is, it was strange where she wasn't there Friday. They could have done something on Friday and just like even had her just like, I suppose they couldn't really have her get attacked or something, but they could just say, Nikki's been attacked, blah blah blah, and not show something, or just say, just film something on your phone that you're like on the floor or something. And
I guess it keeps the element of surprise though, that the challenge, because if she would have said Asuka's going to face instead, then you would kind of know Asuka's not going to win. So with this, keeping it quiet for as long as they could, up until literally a few hours before, and then they could go, wait, have they changed their mind now? Is Asuka going to win this? Is that why they're having a match? Whereas the other day, I think it would have been too long for you to even have that doubt.
Yeah, I thought though overall it did work out pretty well, and we say Asuka can get a great match out of anyone, and they probably just thought, we'll just put her in there, a safe pair of hands, and then Bayley rolls on. I think it's October the 11th, marks a year since Bayley won the title as well. So
they need to get to that.
She goes to the next pay-per-view as holding the title for over a year. So, well, that's unless something happens on one of the SmackDowns beforehand. So, yeah, what do you think?
It's only 2 weeks. Yeah, I just don't know why they use Asuka though. Like I do and I don't. Like I understand, obviously, she has talent, but
SmackDown have got no women's division, mate. That's what it is.
I mean, I do just feel like if the result was just to have a 3-minute match and for Sasha to come out, couldn't it have just been like Lacey Evans or Tamina or someone like that? Like the result, like Asuka, to be fair, just wasn't needed for it at all. Because obviously, your point, Scott, about if they'd advertised it before, then while yes, people would have thought, okay, Asuka going to lose, but then it would have obviously been a bit of more of a draw than kind of announcing that Tamina's replacing her. But by not announcing anything and expecting us to see Nikki Cross, then when we see Asuka, our expectations jump up, but then we go to a 3-minute match. So it's interesting. Like, there's both sides of it, basically, what I'm saying. Yeah. I felt that the attack, though, was very, very well done. And it's something which, I don't know whether it's because, again, like, of this no crowd scenario, but they are really getting good at the kind of, like, attacks that they're doing.
Not got the crowd to spoil it for people. That's what it is. Because
I think it might be too. I think obviously you haven't got the crowd chanting as much as I love the crowd. You haven't got those minute. Even if someone uses one weapon, you get the "We want tables" chant. It's like no, that's not the purpose of this. I think as well, like
great a pay-per-view of no, this is awesome chants either. So,
well, until the end actually. I think there's one.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like saying about like the whole thing with like the no crowd thing and that it's like like an example I remember was when we was at the Raw after WrestleMania, and it's like it was the Kofi and Seth match, and it's like you're engrossed in this match, and then all of a sudden you catch someone out the corner of your eye, and it's like the whole crowd just immediately just start booing or like crapping all over it basically, and it's like you're focusing on the camera's focusing on what's happening in the ring, but then you're getting this random like boo or whatever from elsewhere, and it's like
it's exciting though. That's exciting to find out where it's coming from. I do like that experience though.
It is in a way, but then it's I think we'll get onto it more in like the next match as well. But it could sometimes have like a detrimental effect. But
Yeah.
So sorry, mate. Continuing on with your point, because I really just cut you right off in the middle.
No, it's just, I mean, overall, look, I was really happy with the attacks part of this segment, and I felt that it was definitely needed for Sasha to do it. Obviously, I think something we had discussed previously, that's, they might have had Sasha off TV for a longer period, but it's obviously apparent that they want to go ahead with the match. And I'm assuming it's going to be inside Hell in a Cell. Like, it's all kind of geared up towards that now with the weapons attacks and just the severity of the feud. And I don't know, I think we should see it as a main event, so I feel, but I just do get a feeling that perhaps we are going to see probably one of the world titles, the men's world title, still in that main event spot. But anyway, like, I'm happy with this being used for it, and it actually is a rare example of a DQ kind of victory being done right, I think. Obviously, especially with Asuka being in the match, like she couldn't get pinned. But then again, it brings up the question more from the WWE side of things, of like, why would Asuka kind of skip the queue past all the people on SmackDown to get that title shot? I know they're having the draft coming up, and perhaps they're going to...
Well, especially with Nikki recently just winning like a #1 contenders match, it could have been like, well, whoever was in that and didn't take the pinfall maybe could have just, gone into that slot. But
yeah, I think maybe they just feel that they're done with those women now, I guess, in terms of this program, because she's beaten them all, hasn't she?
It's probably just like try and eke it out for another couple of weeks, see what they can do. Just throw in like a little bit. I don't think she's going to be defending the title now until after the draft at least. So it's probably just going to be a lot of like, let's just kind of plod along, get to the draft, move some of the Raw women over there, and then you open up a whole new load of feuds for her essentially.
I mean, you got Dana Brooke as well. She hasn't got off the floor, I don't think, at HQ. She fell over. Is she gonna make her return and get her women's
She's gonna cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase that she pulled down from in the office?
She's probably still spending that money.
Yeah, I'd have just literally took that and just gone, been like, yep, that's mine, see you later.
So I was really hoping that it would be like an Asuka kind of winning both titles, but then when we found out it was literally just a way to set up Bayley and Sasha again, I didn't get it. I mean, Sasha could have come out while she was cutting that promo and attacked her from behind, and that would have been more of a surprise shock than what we actually got. So I had an idea that because now we know that the draft is happening, do you think that the draft will move one of the women, Sasha or Bayley, to the opposite brand to keep the rivalry going and then possibly go at Mania? I'm hoping that they don't do that and it starts to fester through Hell in a Cell and build up to the end of the year, possibly Rumble. If it does go to Mania, my call is Sasha's winning the Women's Rumble and she'll face Bayley at WrestleMania. Other than that, Asuka coming out, I don't understand why she needed to. They could have just brought anyone out if literally the only case was just to batter Bayley through Sasha. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Didn't enjoy this moment at all. I thought it was a wasted opportunity. They could have put a match out on the fly, and they would have they've already done 2 matches that were quite short, so one more wouldn't have been a problem.
So, are we ready to talk about a couple of very, very good main events?
Mm-hmm.
So, we start off with the WWE Championship ambulance match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. You didn't have a good day, Lucas, mate. This was another L for you, saying that Randy Orton was going to win this. Scott and the absentee Rob all went for our mate Drew McIntyre to win.
We could just give you Rob's point because he's not here.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Forfeit a point for not being here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah. I mean, it seems that obviously Orton is perhaps going away for a few months or whatever. I don't know how they play this, I guess, because it's hard now to know because obviously AJ Styles was buried alive and came back after 3 weeks. Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio got thrown off a roof and came back after, I think, a week. So I don't know how much, you know, a Claymore and a punt and having Shawn Michaels, Big Show and Christian all attack you during the match.
And an old man driver.
Yeah, and Ric Flair took him.
I don't know where that all fits into, how long you're meant to be off for. Look, this was a different kind of thing. Again, like we've seen a lot of this different stuff, haven't we, over the past 6 months or so, and this fits into that same criteria in the sense of it kind of felt like they were ending a chapter and brought back all these little cameos and guest spots and stuff. And I guess as well, not having a crowd there, like, you know, like especially people like Shawn Michaels, he probably just like was probably just hung out behind the cameramen all the time because, you know, and I think what I think is at first as well. I think when Big Show chokeslammed him through the table, I was like, oh, is that going to be the only thing that happens? And like, if that was it, why would Big Show come out in 2 minutes?
Yeah,
but then
I was so confused.
I got the kind of point of it. It reminded me of Raw 1000 when everyone beat up Heath Slater. When Heath Slater was facing all the jobbers for a week, you know, with all the kind of old school stars, and challenging them and stuff. And then on Raw 1000, they all came out and just beat him up. Or the WCW One Night Stand when Eric Bishop, they threw Eric Bishop in the ring, and he got like beaten up by everyone. But anyway, look, I think match itself was okay. I'm not a massive fan of ambulance matches. Same reason I don't like casket matches or any kind of. I don't like the slow. It's the slowness around the ambulance that I don't like. Like the whole, because even like there's a point where they were both in there, or when Orton put him in there at first. Sorry, I mean, you just closing the door slowly and closing the door. I get that obviously you're tired, but like you want to win a match, like you wouldn't be that slow about it. I mean, yeah, like I'm assuming Drew's gonna have to face someone like Cena now at this point to lose the belt because I don't see. He's literally had like he's beaten everyone. He's
beaten
6
months now as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Orton twice now. Rollins beaten Lashley, beaten Big Show. You know, I just don't see how he can do all that and just lose to someone kind of default. And yeah, but yeah, it's been over 6 months, but yeah, I thought it was an okay match.
Yeah, I liked it for what it was. It wasn't the best ambulance match I've seen, and all the cameos were a bit weird. But I still kind of liked them, you know, especially Flair at the end. You know, I kept thinking when's Flair going to show up. But yeah, the Big Show one threw me off because it was so early. But once Christian came out, like you said, you kind of knew what was going on. But then it kind of also meant that you knew the match was not ending because you knew there was going to at least be Flair. But because I forgot about Michaels. The Michaels one was good, throwing him off the top as well. I found it really
boom, wasn't it?
Yeah. The red steel chair with the with the cross on it was a bit weird. I don't think ambulances actually have chairs like that, do they? But yes, it was just a strange match because again, it just felt like we were waiting for something all the time, like, and the pacing just felt really off because of all the different things that happened. But saying that, like the stuff that happened in the match was entertaining. So you know, I'm not going to knock it for that. Like you, like I don't really see what's going to happen with McIntyre now. Like this is really impressive that they've kept the title on him so long, and all the guys you mentioned he's beat. But even like Dolph, you know, and guys like that, you know, there's a lot of guys he's beat. So who do you go with? Unless it's Lesnar coming back or something like that. But yeah, I did enjoy something I really enjoyed as well. More just impressive Randy Orton performances when he sold that headbutt, like ridiculously funny, like so good. You had the windshield bump as well. That was really impressive looking.
He tried to pin him. Him.
Yeah. I like stuff like that when the instincts kick in and stuff, you know. So yeah, It was good. It was good, and I think the right result because I don't. I don't know where it would have gone other than this.
Especially
I don't know
for the
where.
point.
Yeah, and for that, but I don't know. I don't know where Drew would have gone, and I don't know where Randy would have gone. So maybe it's best to keep it on Drew.
One of them would have gone to a hospital because they're in the back of an ambulance.
After that,
So in answer to your question, what next for Drew? Well, it's going to be Otis gets moved over to Raw in the draft. Otis gets McIntyre, and there we go. Yeah, I liked as you guys have said, like the touches of obviously Big Show, Christian, Shawn Michaels, and that was good. And then it touches on to what we were saying as well about the whole thing with the crowd. It's like I think that would have been one of these matches where the crowd would have kind of just got a bit restless with all like the Big Show, Christian, HBK, and that showing up. Because I think all you would have got from the crowd is we want Edge, we want Edge, and it's like and then they won't get Edge, and then they'll get disappointed, and whereas Thunderdome obviously you wouldn't get that kind of stuff, but yeah, I think overall it was decent. I liked the finish. We did say that it would potentially be like a Claymore into the ambulance, which would have looked pretty sick, but the fact that the fact he used the punt against Orton, the move that Orton's been so dominantly like beating everyone else with. So it's like, right now you've had a taste of this move, put him in, see you later, off you go. And then, Drew at the end, like, this is not just for me, this is for like loads of people. And, it does make him seem like he's a champion, like for the people basically. And,
people's champ.
The people's champ. There we go. I think that's his next feud written. Although I'm sure that the feud for the next match will, probably have something to say about that one.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, where does Drew go from here? It's like, what big heels are there that are left? I mean, the only other thing we can see is like maybe a Bobby Lashley, but he's already faced off against Lashley.
Yeah.
And he's a US champ. And he's in Hurt Business, not Hurt Locker. So
I nearly said that earlier as well because of when he said the Hurt Lock.
But I guess it's unless they bring somebody over from SmackDown, but then even that is who.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Is Braun now on Raw? And he's been, isn't he?
He just showed up.
He's just doing more underground. Bubba Tunde.
Yeah.
Dabba-Kato.
Maybe Bray. I know Bray's No, Bray ain't the champ, is he? So yeah, Bray and McIntyre would be good.
And apparently he's face now, apparently, as well. The Fiend.
Oh, okay, that doesn't really help then, does it? Yeah. Another thing I find really odd about this is the whole kind of like, all the guys coming back to get one over Randy and after being put out by him. It would have been great if not so long ago they had a pay-per-view called Payback. It would have been a good time to do that, don't you think?
Yeah.
And a group called Retribution. They could have done like a little running angle with like fake Retribution, and then all them guys reveal themselves. Bang, there you go. They're under the
That would be cool, yeah.
Yes, I think overall though it was a good match. The right person won. Obviously for me getting a point, so that's even better.
Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. This match was probably I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the stronger matches of the night. The ladder match being one of my favourites. This match was great. I loved the high hitting, like the impact of each guy with the punt, the Claymore, the RKO, the people that have come back to avenge the Randy Orton, from Big Show, Shawn Michaels, Christian, and then Ric Flair driving off in the ambulance at the end with Randy in. I absolutely loved it. I loved the injury angle that they done with the knee and the broken jaw, and they kept using that as a part of the storytelling in this match. Going around the ring as well and going backstage, it was so good. I really, really liked how they used the whole arena, or most of the arena, to then bring it back to the ambulance. For a little while, when they were backstage, I literally did forget that it was an ambulance match. I was thinking it was a Falls Count Anywhere. My mind was so involved in the match itself. It was really good. Both guys delivered. I'm happy that Drew got the victory. However, I did slightly want Randy to get it so then they can start building this rivalry a little bit more. With that being said, Drew is victorious, so I'm wondering who his next opponent's going to be.
So we move on now to the main event of the show, which was incredible. I think this was a lot better than I was. I was half expecting it to be just quite quick and, you know, just lay down for him or spear Superman, punch, pin. I'm glad that I was wrong. It was actually really, really good. And the story that they told, like before the match with the promo, the story they told on SmackDown, the story they told in the match itself, at the end of the match, it just gives this feud so many directions that it can still go in. It makes you want to watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought, you know, it was a nice touch at the end with Jimmy coming out and, you know, Jey obviously referring to him by his real name as well. When he was like, no, don't do it. And, you know, I think in the end it was like, I think we all kind of knew that Roman was going to win. And, you know, I liked the fact that it wasn't just a straight up, oh, he's going to pin him 1, 2, 3. It was, you know, the whole thing of like doing it for like the pride and that. And it's like, you know, you call me your tribal chief, and, you know, just obviously not wanting to back down from that. And, you know, Jimmy in the end having to throw in the towel for his brother and, yeah, calls in the technical submission. So
I have to agree, man. I think it's one of the best pieces of storytelling they've done in years. And I love the fact, this is why I think the show is kind of going to resonate with me for quite a while, that the end of it ended like this and the beginning started with that IC title. So you want wrestling, you know, and as well, hardcore wrestling, I guess, but you want great performance, you got that. You want storyline and heart-wrenching moments, we got that too, you know. So it was a great way to book a show. And it felt like a big fight feel, you know, like I think as the storyline went on, I think, like you said, we all knew Roman was going to win. I wanted to believe that Jey Uso could do it. And I liked that they played with our emotions like that. I knew what they were doing, but I allowed myself, you know, I allowed them to kind of bring me along on this journey and be like, oh, he might do it. Wouldn't it be good if he did do it? Even though I knew for storyline purposes, it's probably best to keep it on Roman and all this kind of stuff. I still like that I could get invested, even though I knew in the background, you know, it wasn't going to happen. And like I said, big fight feel, man. Like it's not something I would have expected to say even 6 weeks ago, you know. But with a match between these two, I feel like they could have always done it, because if you would have said this 6 weeks ago, I would have said, oh, they could do this, but it wouldn't have just been turned on. And the way they've slowly ramped up the storyline and the stakes in this story has been amazing, you know. I said, like, we spoke before we came on air before as well, talking about watching like the Untold, I think it's called, documentary they did on Jey Uso, and the SmackDown promo from Jey Uso. Like, perfect. Like, could you get any better, basically, to build into this match? As for the match itself, the only downside, I would say, 2 downsides for me is I'm not a fan of throwing in the towel, because that doesn't usually happen. And technically, who's to say he was doing it for his brother? He's also related to Roman, so he could have technically, you know, it's a lot of assuming. It's the only reason why I don't like these kind of things. And it's convenient. As soon as the towel comes out, you know what's going on. I think I would have preferred if it was just a referee decision, maybe, because he was just battering him and battering him. He wouldn't pin him, and the ref could see, you don't want to pin him, you just want to hurt him, you know, until he says you're the tribal chief. And again, going back into that, like, storyline wise, just using all of that, and then him taking the delay at the end, you know, like, it couldn't have been done better in that sense. It's just the little bit of the towel I'm not too sure of, even though I liked getting Jimmy Uso involved as well. And also, I weren't sure of how long they took to get Jey back in the match. He looks a bit pathetic at times, and I was a bit unsure about that until he built it back and he started doing all his own moves. It was good, but because it went on for so long, Roman was so dominant, it felt like it was kind of a bit silly to have put Jey in this match at times. But other than only in presentation sense, not in what he can do or anything like that, but just the way they were presenting that kind of awkward 5 long minutes I felt we were watching. But yeah, other than those points, one of the best things they've done in years.
Yeah, I love this match. I absolutely love this match. I felt that it just was such good storytelling, and it's what when WWE, decide that they want to do this and give us a good story, and they cut the silly stuff, like they can do a good job. And it was just absolutely masterful. And obviously, with the fact that that family has such a connection to the WWE, and obviously, even without some of the bigger players getting involved, I don't know, they will get Dwayne, we'll get The Rock for next year, but it's such a good story. I'm going to go on the other side of you, though, Scott. I quite like the towel finish. I think the ref stoppage, while it could have also gotten the same result, I get that. I think the fact that it was so tied up with this family, with the three brothers, I think it needed to have the brother do what they're going to do.
The action, yeah, because him being there wouldn't really. I understand that, because him being there, like you say, the ref would take it out of, like, Jimmy didn't need to be there for that. So I get your point on that.
So I feel as well that there is obviously an avenue they could explore. They probably won't explore this one, but the one where obviously, like I said, Jey didn't want to quit. He didn't want the match to stop, and so obviously he will have some emotion towards his own brother now about the fact that he didn't lose by choice. He had the choice taken out of his hands. So there's a bit of unjustness here. And it was just a lovely moment when, obviously, at the end, when you had Jimmy basically protecting his brother, and Jimmy, as we know, is injured as well, which makes it even more of a kind of thing. And how great shape is Roman Reigns at the moment? Incredible. Like, I don't know what. He's about 2 times as big. He probably can't get in his right.
That's probably why he's not wearing it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the whole tribal chief thing, I think, is just phenomenal. And this is the Roman we wanted for years, and years.
What an amazing heel lane! Like, how good is he? This has built him so well. Like, what better way to, like, emphasize this part of his character than playing the family thing? I think it's been, as some of the acting in it, not just from Roman, obviously, and just being an idiot, like the twat to his own cousin, but like the Usos themselves, Jay's face saying, forget this fool, forget it. I felt like I was watching a real fight, I felt like I was watching, like, when I've really seen people argue on a night out or something like that. The acting was amazing. Like, I felt emotional watching it,
Yeah, which sometimes, obviously, if we flip back to SummerSlam, we had Sonya losing her job and kind of acting like, it's like, I just think, this is the completely other side of it. And when they get this right, this level of realness, it's really, really good. And I'm really interested where this feud goes, next. Obviously, we're not done with this. Perhaps with Jey, but I think it definitely is going to something. And
they're gonna probably all come together
if we get Rikishi on SmackDown. I want Rikishi's entrance. I think Rikishi's gonna have to get involved.
It has to be serious Rikishi, though. That's to do the bad man.
Oh, but yeah, no.
I did it for The Rock.
That's the one, yeah.
Oh man, 20 years ago that now. We're showing our age, aren't we? But yeah, I'm assuming we're going to get Rikishi kind of coming out at some point in the next few weeks, which I think that will be cool. And obviously, if it is leading to, obviously, potentially The Rock versus Roman Reigns down the line, well, most likely at Mania. I mean, well, you're not going to have The Rock wrestle on a non-Mania show.
They'll just chuck it on TLC or something. Yeah.
205 Live.
Main event.
But no, phenomenal storytelling from both guys and a very credible and worthy main event. I have to mention that it is the first time, and it is baffling this, like, with all the kind of fantastic performers, including on this show as well, people of colour. Like, it's the first time 2 people of colour main event in a WWE pay-per-view.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, it's the first time it's ever happened. It's the first time it's ever happened.
Wow.
The closest that you've got to it is the Rock and Booker T main event in SmackDown back in 2001. And earlier this year, there was a tag match with the Street Profits against Bobby Lashley and MVP, with main event of Raw. But, it seemed weird saying that, like that.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened with all
You
these
think of all the
fantastic
stars, that they've had, that's a strange fact.
Yeah, but it's the first time that's ever happened, and we got it. We got a fantastic match out of it. Regardless of obviously, I just felt I had to mention that. I thought it was an important thing for me personally, but fantastic main event, and look forward to seeing more of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns.
I love it. I love that it's part of his character now. I absolutely love it. And you know what else as well? I kind of felt bad. Like we do with all these big opportunities, a lot of these guys are getting, there's no fans. If this match would have happened in front of fans for Jey, it would have been great. But they weren't being able to do the same storytelling because, we've mentioned it before, even earlier in this show, obviously how the fans can be a hindrance and they kind of can force through what they want us to feel. And we mentioned that a few shows back. And I think they really did it in this where they didn't need a mic and they were speaking and they could zoom in on what they were saying. And it was just the storytelling, it just enhanced the entire storyline, and I can only praise it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to lead to the whole the family coming together and just being one big unit eventually, but turn the Usos heel to align with Roman kind of thing. But I do think that Paul Heyman has got his fingers very much in this, and the man is just a genius when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I just think you can see the passion with all of the guys, and they're probably thinking you know what, this family has been overlooked for so long. We're going to just take this opportunity, we're going to grasp it with both hands, and we are going to show why we are this generation essentially.
Yeah.
And you've got Roman Reigns that will, be heading up that men's division for a very, very long time. Well, as long as he wants, pretty much. He's 33, 34 at the moment, so he's pretty much, in wrestling terms, got quite a while ahead of him. Injuries and health permitting. I think once Jimmy's back as well, full time, then you've got the makings of the Hurt Business on Raw, and these guys sort of running roughshod over SmackDown as well.
Them coming together.
And then you can even throw to add to the family stuff, throw Nia Jax in there as well with them. And then you've obviously you've got a woman in there. You've got obviously
have Tamina instead. Have Tamina instead. She's safer.
Who?
Tamina. At least with Tamina in them as well. So.
True,
yeah.
But I think overall, I think we've pretty much covered everything there is to cover with this, and it was every bit as good as it should have been, and I'm just hoping that it's not the last that we've seen.
Jey versus Roman Reigns. Man, this match, the storytelling in it, the family connection, the promo that was cut before, Jey saying who is he, which one are you, everything about this rivalry building up, I've absolutely loved. I thought it's one of the best bits of work that WWE have done for a very, very long time. I was so gripped. And then seeing Roman get the better of Jey through the match, start dominating him, the trash talking, the demanding to be called the Tribal Chief, everything. Roman literally stepped up his heel game so well over the last month or so. To come to this, we're having to have Jimmy come out and have that towel thrown in, and then protect his brother, was just a moment I don't think I'll forget for a while. It was incredible. Absolutely loved it. I loved the little comeback from Jey, and then all of a sudden the Uso splash, and he got a near fall on the two. I already said in the prediction that I didn't think Jey was going to win, but for one brief second I really thought, damn, this could happen. But for that kick out, the near falls, everything about this match was great. I love the way it ended. I'm glad it didn't end on a pinfall too, because I feel like the pinfall wouldn't have done the story justice, because the way it's building, Roman doesn't care. He's in charge. He's the breadwinner. He puts the food on the table for the family. That's what he's claiming. And I love it. I love everything about it. So I reckon With them announcing things like The Rock wanting a match with Roman, could it be Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania? I hope it does happen. I would like to see that, especially with Roman being a heel still. I would love to see him as a heel all the way through this. This is probably the best work that he has done in a very long time.
Yes, I mean, I don't really know what else we can say, really. It's just, I think from top to bottom, it was a pretty solid show. Obviously, the only thing we not touched on was the 24/7 title changed hands.
Doing his lunges.
Gulak winning, and then
I like the Gold Rush thing from Truth.
Yeah, and then Truth winning it back. But it was strange when he went into the referee's room. You're thinking, there's two rest areas. One of them going to try and kill
I
him.
thought that as well.
But,
like the old hardcore title did that, didn't they? So.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it's seeming like. And obviously, R.I.P. Akira Tozawa getting eaten by a shark on Raw. So
I love how casually they mentioned that as well. Just like I just mentioned they got ate by sharks. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Same about Corbin after he threw the people off the roof, innit? He came on Raw the next night. Like, yeah, I've thrown him off the roof, and what? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, so obviously on a more serious note, thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Joe Laurinaitis, aka Animal, who we also sadly lost last week. So yeah, thoughts go out to everyone there, and obviously got him and Hawk reunited up in the big wrestling party.
Fantastic tag team.
So,
fantastic tag team. Fantastic tag in an era where tag team wrestling was big,
Yeah, I mean, to be the best in possibly the best ever period tag team wrestling had, you're pretty good.
Yeah, just phenomenal tag team.
Yeah.
But look, they still got Hyden, right? Do I leave?
I think we'll leave that.
I think we'll leave the LOD at that, mate. Yeah, let's keep to the original two.
But yeah, so obviously we've gone through the show now. Obviously there were some unforeseen circumstances with the matches, which in fairness didn't really have a huge
still a good show.
Have a huge change with the scores. There's only I think one where we could have won and lost points, and that was the Raw Women's title, because obviously me and Scott went with one team, Rob and Lucas went with the other. But I think other than that would have, if I'd have got mine correct, then it just would have tied me up with Rob, really. So otherwise we're not really changed. So the scores on the doors, Scott still sitting pretty at the top with 26 points, closely followed by the masked one, Rob, on 24, although he should have really forfeited a few for not being here.
Should make that the new rule.
No, because I'm not going to be here for the next. Then followed by myself on 23 points, and Lucas bringing up the rear on 17. Come on, man. You need a heck of a Hell in a Cell show, and you need to hope that we seriously just go for some wild predictions. We're just literally going to say that Vince is going to win every match. So
there's still time, and one day I will get my Otis point. It's coming.
That's if he still has it. So. So that was the Clash of Champions results and recap show. I wanted to say thank you guys for joining me, the two that could be bothered to join me anyway. Thank you guys.
To be on the show, mate. Rob's too emotional. Rob's too emotional to be here.
Having Usos and Luchas losing on the same show.
It's been a tough weekend.
What's he going to do when they both have a match together, eh?
Oh, the heart beats on.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you lot for watching. Don't forget, you can check us out, rebnoise.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, Bebo, MySpace. You'll probably find us there at some...
And we've gone back in time as well.
We did have pages on those back in the day, so you'll probably find those.
Bill and Ted is a movie, by the way. It's not a real life concept. You can't actually go back in time to get those.
And if you've got typewriters, then just put in www.rebnoise.com. Then transfer
PO box
to a web browser.
Send it in via post. To Blue Peter.
We'll send you back some VHSs of the prediction shows and the recaps.
Exactly. Back when we were youthful and no facial hair, but anyway. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for you guys for joining me, and yeah, we will do this all over again when we predict Hell in a Cell. See you guys later.